So this week on the Any Given Runday podcast, we have Irish professional athlete and a coach at Coolock Running Club, as well as Oberstown Children's Detention Campus, Ger Redmond. Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. How you getting on?
Good lads, thanks for having me.
That easily could have been like a whole list of different things you've accomplished, and I have no idea where to go to start. You've done a lot, and we're going to get into a lot, but personally, I'm going to get into how the hell did you sign up for an Ironman without actually knowing how to swim? That part baffles me. As someone who can't swim, you're like 6 months Ironman, and you have done phenomenal times that we'll definitely get into. Like how few times had you been in a swimming pool, let alone in the open sea, before you decided to sign up for that Ironman?
Zero.
Jesus.
Yeah, like to be honest with you, it was like a do or die type of thing. I had to find something new because of the new direction I was taking. After leaving prison in 2016, um, my son Ross was born, so I needed a new direction because I wanted to change the generation and show him a better environment and show him his dad was doing better things. So in order for me to do that, I had to give up the crime and the gang that I was in and the environment I was in. So it was just a good friend of mine, Mick Keogh, was actually doing Ironman at the time, and he was doing a bit of coaching, and it was just reaching out to a good friend, and basically the right time, right place. And I went to watch him doing an Ironman in October 2016. My son was born in my son was actually born in October 2016, and I actually went to watch him that month, and he inspired me, and other people around inspired me. I actually remember seeing older people doing it, and I was thinking, "Jeez, maybe I could do that." As I said, it was just the right time, and and then once the son was born, then I was like, "Oh, do you know what? I hate bullshitters. I hate telling people don't do this, and then I'm doing it." And I remember my father was the same. He'd say to you, "Don't do that," and he'd be doing something, and I'd be like, "Fucking, I used to hate that. That was eating away at me." So, look at long story short, I just said to Mick, "Look, I'm going to sign up for an Ironman. Would you coach me?" And he was happy to help, and signed up for Maastricht, and then August the 6th, actually, it was my daughter's birthday in 2017. Couldn't swim, never on a TT bike. Uh, yeah, never done really much, to be honest with you. But as I said, I just wanted to go in the deep end because I needed something, because for years and years and years, I just took drink and other substances to stem the trauma I had that I didn't even realize I had until I got fresh and sober.
You
And
you
that's the
played at a
thing. Sorry,
you
Seán, just to give background to what we're seeing. Part of what your original thing was is from prison to pro, and that was a lot of the hashtags you've used over a lot of things. And people who are joining probably don't realize that this wasn't just I signed up for an Ironman. We see that all the time. I just signed up for an Ironman, but this was a major life change for you. And we always say sport is a lifestyle, but this was changing your life completely, wasn't it?
This was massive. But look at to go back, I suppose the trauma I had endured over the years from when I was a kid, growing up, all that trauma, I thought was normal. And the things I was doing, I was using the things I was doing, being in the gang, hurting people, wrecking the community, taking drugs. I didn't realize the how big the trauma was, because when you're taking drugs and you're taking drink and you're in a different environment, um, it's hard to sort of it's hard to it's hard to see exactly how big the trauma is at the time. It's only when you get out of it. So I suppose when I got out of that and I went sober as such, and I wasn't using drink and other substances to stem the trauma, I needed something else then as an outlet. And then when I took up triathlon and I signed up for that Ironman, that then became my new medicine to stem my trauma. So I took it to an extreme level, because I was still at the trauma, but um, I was now using this new, I suppose, new medicine, as an extreme to stem the trauma. And I didn't even realize at the time. And it wasn't until actually my wife was giving out about me, saying, "You've changed, right? Yeah, you've changed and you're sober and all, but you're still fucking not in the house. You're still not present." you know, because I was still, although it's a sport and although it's a good thing, right? I actually was saying to her, you must be jealous. What the fuck? What are you going on about? But do you know what I'm saying? I was using this as an extreme thing. I was out all day, every day, 2, 3 times a day. I still wasn't present, if you get me. I was
Mm.
still, might as well have been in the gangs, although I wasn't hurting people, although I wasn't doing something dangerous, although I wasn't affecting the community. I was still not present in my family home, if that makes sense.
Anyone who's gone through an Ironman or training, the commitment level, and it is one of those, you're never around. I was actually going to start using the word medicine every time I go for a training session. Now I'm just going for my medicine.
And that's what it is.
It's a nice way of putting it, but it is a big commitment, and I suppose everyone can understand the extremes. Then you're taking it to for that release, that's something, that push, and that feeling of the challenge, the difficult, the body being so tired as well. At what point then did you find, okay, how do I balance home life? Was that different for you coming back to balance home life and this? And how did you keep the peace, I suppose?
I tell you what I done. Because when I got fit and healthy, that gave me the ability then to realise that something else was up here. You know, this is not really that normal. So I was getting up. I got that caught up in it. I was getting up at 3 in the morning. I used to set myself goals like during the winter. I just pick a random date and just say I'm going to do 120k on that day. I wouldn't care what day it was. Wouldn't care what the weather was. And bear in mind, I was only new to the sport. I hadn't got the right equipment either. I hadn't even got cleats. I hadn't got uh, overshoes or anything like that. And I'd say at 3 in the morning on the 25th of February, I'm going out to do 120k. And that was me testing my mind. That wasn't me testing my mind. That was me feeding the trauma. So um, I knew that wasn't right. So what I done was then once you're healthy and you're in a good place, I knew that I needed more help. So that meant getting counselling. So I was open for that. So as I got the counselling, as I started working more on myself, I didn't need it as much to train as much. I wasn't punishing myself because what I was doing was punishing myself through sport, right? And as I got better and as the more I talked about and the more I got the trauma out and the more I released all that, I suppose, opened the trap door. I didn't need endurance as much as I did before. If that makes sense. So I started to dwindle off. Now I was still doing it, but I was doing it at normal times. And I was balancing it then a lot more. I didn't need it a lot more. So yeah, that was what happened. The more help I got, the less I needed it. If that makes sense.
At the time, did you think you needed something really extreme to take your mind into things? Because like you were a high level pro soccer player, and like part of you could have went back into that. Would that be like going back into the route of different things where you needed that kind of headspace that something like triathlon training would bring?
I always needed something. I was a sports fanatic all my life, really. I always had something. I was in Classic. I'd play badminton, I'd play anything, golf, and going, I'd play just because I loved sports. But I don't think it was because I loved sports. I think it was because it helped me with the emotions and the stuff that was going on at home. So I didn't have to sit with them. So once I was doing sports, that I don't know, it gave me some sort of an adrenaline rush or some sort of an euphoria where I felt good all the time. Whereas if I wasn't doing that, I didn't feel good.
You seem to be in a lot better place now. How and you seem to have different ways to cope with it. Not to jump too far ahead because you did a lot of stuff, great stuff before this. But back in July 2020, I want to say, you had a triathlon race out in Kerry and it went horrifically wrong, as in like you broke your neck. I mean, it can't get much more wrong than that. How do you, like you said, like sport, you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're coping with all this to get by. That's a long period of time to try and cope with, the training and all is obviously gone. Like what happens there to the mind? Like how do you cope with something like that?
You know, do you want to hear the truth?
100%.
Hold on. I'm sitting down. Go for it.
I broke my neck originally in Waterville. I went to the hospital and they said it was soft tissue, right? So I signed up for the Bantry hard man, which was about 2 weeks later. I done that with a broken neck. right? I was in bits. And but I was thought it was soft tissue, so I said, fuck it, it'll be grand. Anyway, I got through it. Then I signed up for the full Ironman in Kerry, the other hard man, which is a full one. I got dragged out of swimming that. And I remember sitting in my hotel, and I was like, fucking weasel you. You should have just kept going. I was like, I was like, my legs are still working. So I marched back up to the start line where the run was in the marathon, and I said to the guy that was running it, I said, look, any chance of doing the marathon? My legs are working, I'll be all right. He goes, yeah, if you want it. Fair play to him. So I done to finish the marathon. Now, bear in mind, I didn't know I had a broken neck, right? I thought it was soft tissue. So then I went to get an MRI up in Santry Sports Clinic, and it turned out I had a broken neck, right? So your man's saying to me, now, you're going to be able to train for 12 weeks if to wear this neck brace. And I said, look, there's no even point in saying that to me. Tell me what I can do, or I'm going to fuck myself up. So we came up with this solution that I would get a watt bike, which I rented out, and I ended up cycling on a watt bike for 12 weeks.
Jesus.
You've got a great video that is really eye-catching on your Instagram. It's just a neck brace and your head is the caption. And when you click on, you're like, no excuses. And it's just you on the watt bike with a neck brace on.
But that's down to my trauma was still raw at that time. So that was me I just needed that. If I didn't do that, right, I would probably end up back in the drink or doing something else. You know what I mean? So for me, there was no other option for me not to train because I didn't want to go back down the wrong road again. That just wasn't an option. So for me, the option was continue training, give myself something to do and stem that trauma every day and have something to live for. Or if I don't do that, God knows what will end up happening. So that to me was worth my life having to do that. So there was no way I wasn't going to train. So yeah, when I got the neck brace off, 2 weeks later I done a full marathon. So it just wasn't an option.
And to go back again, when you're looking at that first Ironman, you've worked hard. Obviously, it's a new medicine, and we accept that it's with trauma. But when you stood up to that first Ironman start line, what did that feel like for you? Was that a recognition to yourself? Well, I know you understand now a lot of it was trauma and training, but go back to when you didn't know. Was that recognition that you're on a good path? What did that feel like to be standing at that start line?
Yeah, so yeah, look, I remember standing at that start line like it was yesterday. It was a beautiful sunny morning, and it was about 7 in the morning, and I just remember thinking, like, this is living, you know. Look, this is how you live your life. No one around here is looking for that off me. No one around here is looking for any favors. Everyone just wants good for you, you know. It was a great. The triathlon community is a great community, you know. It really is. Like people will do anything for you. If you have a punch or if you need a tube, if you need just a bit of motivation, anything at all, and stop, they'll help. And I just felt that day. I felt the love in the area. I felt the positivity amongst everyone. And it was a really, really good time for me to say, you know what, I was proud of myself. I've come a long way. I'm here, standing here. I still didn't know where I was going to finish it, but mind you. Because I honestly didn't. Because it was a 3-point-8 swim and I was like, I don't even know. The only good thing about that was it was an Australian exit. So it was a 1.9 swim up, and then you had to get out and walk across. So I was delighted with that because I was able to break it up into 2 parts in my head. I said, right, as I get there, I can stand up, have a little breath, chill out, and then I'll do the 1.9 back. And, you know, funny enough, it was grand. I actually, you know, you build things up in your head more than what they are. But it was great to get through the swim. I knew once I got out of the swim, I'd be fine. But that was a day for me, a day of recognition of, you know what, you have come a long way and it's all behind you now. It's just a matter of keep putting one foot in front of the other, you know.
And from that point, when did you decide I'm going to become a professional?
Well, it's even like when I finished that, because everyone was telling me, oh, you're going to suffer on the run and you're going to suffer. It's a big endurance race. So I'm waiting for this suffering, right? And I'm on the run. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Suffering? Yeah. So I was like, none of you have a clue about suffering. I'll bring you back to when I was a kid. I'll bring you back to all the suffering I've been through in my life, the real suffering that we go through as human beings. Sports was not suffering for me, so I didn't respect it in that regard. So I went looking for it. So I was going around shouting, like, obviously I was in pain, but I was liking the pain. It was fucking giving me that energy to push forward. I was going looking for it. The more pain I felt, the more alive I felt. So I was using it. I suppose I was using the negative and pushing it through into the sport. All that trauma I had, all that negativity inside. I was pushing forward with that, and it was feeding me, you know. And then when I finished that, I remember finishing the race, and I just got this just pure self confidence, self belief that I could do anything. I was like, I'm built for this shit. You know, I didn't feel pain out there. I loved that pain. So I've loved the sport. I couldn't believe how much I loved it and how much it helped me. And I just wanted more of it. So I signed up for Lanzarote, which is the toughest in the world. I said, I need to be tested here. If this is for me, let's test, see where I'm at. I've done Lanzarote and I've done it in a really good time. And again, the suffering, I was happy. It was good. I was enjoying it. I enjoyed the suffering. I went looking for it and I found it. But I was well out for it. So then the answer to your question, I signed up for Ironman Barcelona, which is flat. Um, that was October 2018. 22 months after I took up the sport of triathlon, I signed up for that, and then I started looking around to see what the time was to become a pro, and it was sub 9:30. So you know, the best one I'd done at that stage was in 11 hours. I'd done in Maastricht, and then I'd done 10:36 in Ironman Lanzarote. So I had to go sub 9:30. So a lot of people was laughing at me, telling me, "Yeah, you're mad. You won't do that." But you know, I'd nothing to lose, you know, and a lot more to prove to not only myself but to my family and everyone else around me. So I had that motivation within me, and I had all that stuff that I was talking about, the trauma. So I knew how much I would put into it. I knew people didn't understand or realize what I was getting from this sport, you know. Um, and yeah, like
9 hours 30 is not average. Like it is
Nope.
well above average. I crossed the line after about 13 hours feeling sorry for myself and everything else. But like 9 hours 30 is some going flat course, hilly course, it doesn't matter the course. 9 hours 30 is phenomenal for 22 months of training. Had you got coaching? Were you doing it a little bit on your own or just using your friend who you were looking up to at the time?
so I went from Mika and I went to someone else then. I went to my guy up, Oliver Hark, and I went to him. Actually, I went to him for Lanzarote, and then I went to Hup, which is over in Base Lakes, Aina over there in Gavin. So I was always looking for the best, you know what I mean? I always wanted to improve. So I knew if I'm on this journey, I like using the best of the best, you know? If you're going to do it right, was my theory behind that. And I wanted to work with the best, push me, bring me to that level. And I believe that people were at that level. Like Gavin Noble was an Olympic, you know what I mean? So I wanted to work with the best people. So yeah, look, I went to them and um, I kept asking them for more. I was like, is that pushing me hard enough? Fucking give me the 6 hour sessions. Give me the, you know. But look at, I just, I just followed suit, and I was like a soldier. I just followed every session. Because you're like, you can't push it that hard. You're not strong enough yet. You get injured. I didn't get that. I just want to be fucking pushed, man. I want to get this pro license. Anyway, I ended up in Barcelona, and I remember standing there going, I'm fucking ready for this. I left no stone unturned. I trained everything, every day. I done every session, didn't miss any session. So I was pretty confident that I would pull it off. And I remember going around, I remember my body actually buckled, I think 20 mile in or something. My body actually went like a banana shape. And I said to myself, get your fucking act together. You've about 6 mile left. Yeah, I am having that talk with myself saying, get the fucking act together. What? Because you're sort of looking for an excuse, you know what I mean? And your mind is your mind's very fucking finicky. Like if you start thinking something's wrong, something will go wrong. So I remember that coming in, that body sort of buckling, and I remember saying to myself, get the fuck up the road. You know what I mean? You've 6 mile, you're just after doing nearly 9 hours. You've a couple of minutes left. So yeah, look, after about 5K to go, I sort of knew was going to happen, and I started tearing up. And again, I was like, shut the fuck up. You know? It was a massive achievement for me. But I could feel my throat closing up. So I was like, fucking relax, you've done nothing yet. Anyway, I come to the finish line and my family's there and I get handed the Ireland flag. And I just remember thinking, my family visited me in prison probably 2 years before this, down in Shelton Abbey. And they're here now, handing me the Ireland flag for me to go underneath in an Ironman. And 9:26 I went underneath, right? And they handed me the Ireland flag. So for that for me was just like from the pit to the palace, you know what I mean? You just pulled it out of the bag. Like, it was a very proud moment. I remember turning at the clock and pointing at it, and just in my head I was like, there you fucking go. I've changed, you know what I mean? I've proved myself. What else can I do?
It's
Beautiful
amazing.
moment.
I'm getting goosebumps just listening to that story, and I haven't got the Ireland flag handed to me and under the line. I was nearly crying as well, so I can only
Yeah.
imagine what it's like in your feeling. But like, just the way you even described that it's just amazing. Like, it's nothing short of amazing, and I think you're right to let yourself be very proud of it. That is absolutely
100%.
outstanding.
But come here, like people that don't know out there, look, I didn't become a professional athlete because I wanted to be probably the best athlete around. Although I did, don't get me wrong, but I sort of knew I was going to struggle in the pro fields because of me swimming. But that wasn't my objective to become pro. My objective to become pro was to have a platform to go into schools, prisons, youth centres, into deprived areas, have the deprived area that I lived in, be able to reach back and say, look, I've done it. I've done something different here. Pulled something out of the bag, and it doesn't mean you have to be a professional athlete, but it just goes to show you that you can be something in your life, something that you want to be, whether it be, I don't know, a guitar player or fucking write books or, whatever it is that your goal is, you can achieve it. Mine happened to be professional athlete, mine happened to be in sports, but yours can be in anything. And I just wanted to be that beacon of light in them areas to say, yeah, look, I was in the bottom of the barrel, but no, you can climb out, you can get to the top if you want. But it does take hard work.
And
Yeah.
seeing is believing, and it really is important for these people who are on a crossroads in their lives when they come out of primary into secondary. Some of these people could be the best footballers, the greatest minds. They're so intuitive, they're intelligent, and they just go down a bad path, but they don't see that light. And that's what you are in those areas, particularly with Coolock Running Club and a few other places. People are like, getting to train with a professional triathlete. You're someone they can see, someone they can touch. Like you're there. You're living proof that you can change. You can do stuff for yourself and believe in yourself. Isn't that right?
100%. And that's the thing. You don't even have to. All you have to do is change yourself, and you automatically get to inspire people around you without actually doing it. And that's the beauty of it. And it's the same for your kids. All you got to do is change your own traits, and you don't even have to tell them, man. They just follow you anyway. So it's an easy process. It's a hard thing to do, but it's actually easy for it to fall into place and for people just to follow in your footsteps. People around you, especially our kids. Because for me, it's the kids. If you change yourself, and you said if I had continued on the road I was on, my granddad was locked up, my dad was locked up, I was locked up. Where does it stop? My son would have been locked up, and it doesn't stop until you actually change your traits. Because regardless to whether you're negative or a positive, your kids will follow in your footsteps. They'll always follow you. So it's important that we set the right environment, and it's important that we set the right traits and let them follow suit.
Yeah, you've done a couple of great events out in Dardale. One of them, the Another Way 5K with at get underscore the message underscore out and different things like that. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was an idea I come up with 3 years ago. Someone actually came to me, a guy called Stephen, works for Archways. He came to me and said, "Seán, you think you could do in deprived areas? Any ideas?" There was a bit of funding there. So I had to think about it. And I said, what, wouldn't it be great to do a 5K in Darndale, in area deprived areas, and spread some positivity within the community? Because I think a lot of these races are outside their community, and a lot of the kids and a lot of the adults don't actually go to them because they're outside. One, because some of them are too expensive, and two is because they just don't feel like they're welcome in different areas. You know what I mean? Don't feel worthy, all that. So, yeah, the event was put on. It was a free event. It was important that it was free because that meant people would sign up. And we had a massive, massive turnout, and and look what's after coming out of the back of it. And the reason why I suppose Coolock Running Club was launched was because I seen a lot of people in Coolock are signing up for this race. 400 people were signing up for this race. I was like, there's a scope there. There's a scope there for a running club. And yeah, and that seed was planted, and then I was like, I've enough on me fucking plate.
We actually, funny enough, not at the same scale at all. We tried to give up this podcast, and it was only for about 18 messages from our solid 18 people that listened week in, week out that said, you can. I rely on you on a Monday for me
Yeah.
run. But people are relying on you and your running club. And I suppose when you know you've got enough on your plate, knowing that people are dependent on you, it's a great feeling. It is a stressor, but it's great to have so many people wanting to be better and needing that guidance from you.
Yeah, look, and that's what I knew would happen, and that's why it took me 3 years, because I knew once I took up something, I'm not the type of person to bow away from it. So the fact that it's being taken up, and that I put my name to it, and just to give you a background, myself and Anthony Brady, I don't know if you know Anthony Brady, Chucky there, he's a good lad.
Be on the podcast now in about 8 weeks.
He's a great story himself, and he's a great lad. And I actually approached him because he's local and his heart's in the right place, and had a chat with him about setting this up. And then he was happy to come on board because you need the community, you need other people. You know, I knew I didn't want to do it on my own. I knew I couldn't do it on my own. Or I could, but it would affect the family and affect everyone else. Because I know what I'm like at doing things. I'll fucking give it everything. You know what I mean? So it was great to get him on board, and then we created a community or a committee, sorry, and then that's how it evolved. But to answer your question, yeah, it is great to have people that I suppose you're accountable, because I'm accountable now to them people, so that makes me turn up, right? So, but when we initially launched this, like, once I had that thought process of, right, this is going ahead. I'm 20 years into this. I'm not trying this out. This is happening. This will be here for 20 years, and hopefully when I go and die, I'll be here for another 20 years. Because it's so important to have this in our community. The health and well-being of this and the community spirit that we're getting at the minute, it was the right decision to do, and it makes it well worthwhile when you see the people up there and the enthusiasm of them and the positivity and the coffee chats after. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Fills your spirit.
We used to always say running was looking on the outside, it was like running is an individual sport, but when you get into it, it's like it's anything but, like, and you have the tag for Coolock Running Club. It's like happiness and true success is only real when you reach back and share it with others. Like, there's no point in getting all these accomplishments. I'm sure you feel like that Ironman and the trail you had there, the Irish flag at the end, that wouldn't mean as much if like your family and stuff weren't there with you to share that moment with.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is that, and that's the reason why I sort of reached back to the community, is because I know the tool of sport is a massive tool, and it's changed my life. And without sport, I'd be probably dead, and that's the truth of it. So I know how much sport can be a massive tool for others. And a lot of people aren't open up for counselling, aren't open up for psychology and other stuff. Don't see, I suppose, the what it can do for you. But I believe once you take up sport, you then can get healthy and get the ability then to make that right decision to then get counselling. And even if you don't, sport can be a winner in your life. And then obviously the community, then bringing the people together, everyone chats about their own problems, their own issues, and everyone knows them we're all together. So it brings it togetherness, you know. And the happiness and true success, that mantra, that was Ando came up with a mantra of his. I come up with a mantra of mine, and we amalgamated the both of them.
Brilliant.
And that's how that came about, which was brilliant. It was like meant to be. He said this, I said that. I said I wanted to reach back to the community. He said happiness and true success, and another few bits, and we just amalgamated, and it became that. It was great, lovely, lovely moment between the two of us. But look at, although it's great and what we've done, without the community, without the members, you know, we're nothing. And community is has pulled together here, you know, and made this a success.
And like that, it it's positivity breeding positivity. It's like that. It's people start to make that change, joining up to your own club. Their kids see them making that change. They might get involved in it. And then, as you've said, it's there for another 20 years, another 20 years, and it can change, and sport can do that. And that's the beauty of it. And people who are going and getting involved in these things, a lot of the times, particularly I found with individualized sports and stuff, you always think you're the only one with a problem, or I can't believe I don't know how to handle this. And when you find out going to these run clubs, you'll hear someone else going, "You'll never guess what happened to me today." And then all of a sudden your problems aren't as scary. They're never individualized. Everyone is going through something. And it's nice to be surrounded by people who can talk to about it and then train together. And that helps that community spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, and even like, you know, when you're around your own people, like it's different, you know. Like
Yeah.
when I go up to Coolock and I'm around my own people, I feel different, you know what I mean? I feel understood, you know what I mean? I feel I don't have to hide, I don't have to pretend. I am who I am. You know, I'm a bit of a black and white character. And I don't care if people, I am who I am. And if you don't like me, you don't like me. I don't really, with all due respect, I don't really give a bollocks, right? I'm 41 now. I'm too old to care anymore. I'm good inside. I feel good. I'm confident. Um, and you know, if people don't like you, they don't like you. Who gives a bollocks, right? You got to be yourself, yeah? Because, you know, you get a lot of fake people out there and they're playing for the crowd or whatever, pretend they're this and that. I used to do that. I done that at one stage. Now I don't care. You don't like me, you don't like me. This is the way it is. This is what we're doing. You don't like it, don't do it.
You are 100% a straight shooter, and the way you're talking about yourself, like pushing through that last couple of K and the Ironman, and just like fuck it, get on with it, and like don't cry and all the rest. I have to ask because the video on your website is class. In 2019, you took 8 athletes to get a sub 3 hour marathon, and someone was struggling. And it's literally towards the finish line. You literally have them wrapped around your neck and you're dragging them across that finish line. In those, I don't know, 16, 20 weeks, whatever it was, what kind of coach are you?
Oh, I'm a coach. Yeah, I'm a three-strike coach, right?
Right.
So you get 3 strikes on me, and then you can fuck off. Yeah, that's who I am. And you know what that brings? It brings people who want to actually hit fucking goals. I have a certain tribe, and this is another thing that actually, you know, Gavin from Hub Hub, he told me, he said, don't fucking change yourself for anyone, because people want to train with you and want to be coached by you and you only. So don't change who you are as a coach, because that'll take away who you are, right? So I took that. And I lost loads of clients from that because I was like, I don't give a fuck. If you don't want to do it, then fuck off. Because if I set goals with you, then we need to smash the goals. Now look at, you know, life gets in the way. I'm not saying I'm fucking Hitler here, you know what I mean? You know, life gets in the way at times. People get sick. I understand that. But we have a goal to set and you're freaking about. We're not in the same wavelength. I'm not doing my job if I just take your money and let you on. Ah, yeah, you're doing grand. Nah, fuck that. You're not doing grand. You're not fucking putting the work in, and that's it. And if you can't take criticism from me, then fuck off.
You're not a right fit.
You're not a right fit.
You're not a right
and I'm,
fit.
and I'm okay with that. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's not personal unless they take it personal. I don't take it personal. You know, not everyone fits everyone.
That's why some people like to sign up for things where they take criticism all the time and get pushed beyond their comfort zone. Is anything you've done that you might have got a lot of criticism?
Yourself?
Yeah.
No, not really. Criticism for what? Usually when I'm being trained, no, if I'm doing something, I always do it with 100% of my best ability. If I'm being coached, There's not a coach out there that's coached me to say that I'd never give 100%, you know. Um,
I was going
but
more onto those kind of Hell Week shows where
I'd,
people sign up for the
they've been
abuse.
through hell, he's saying.
here's a saying: everyone wants to do an Ironman till it's time to train for an Ironman. You know, you like the thoughts of the medal and the finish line, but you don't want to fucking train for the thing. You actually have to put the work in. So,
We've
look, if someone rings me even and we have a chat about this, I always tell them the bad shit. You know what I mean? You can tell them all the good shit and take their money. Oh yeah, it's gonna be great and this and that. No, you gotta tell them you're gonna lose your family, you're gonna lose your friends. You know, you're gonna be in a heap. You're gonna spend a lot of money. This is the negative stuff you need to hear. Yeah, it's gonna be an absolute amazing journey, and you're gonna get so much growth from it. But you gotta hear the bad shit because I'm not in the game to be training people that don't know the bad shit. It's a waste of time, boys. Tell them the gory stuff.
And do you find, like, we've had a lot of guests over the last little while that are training together. We've kind of been brought into the little circles of groups who are training together with common ethos. The people you brought with you, those 8 people, the people who are sticking around for the training, are you finding with them now they're building their own community of performers and people who are wanting to work hard? Are you finding that once they get through those barriers and stick to the process, the consistency, are they all sticking together now?
Yeah, listen. What I sort of built is a mindset. Do you know what I mean? So all the people who I've trained over the years have had a good, solid, strong mindset of no excuses, don't miss training. But this is the tribe you create. Do you know what I'm saying? When you are that person, you create a certain tribe. Other coaches create different tribes that don't want to be given out to. That's people go to a different coach. I create a tribe that want to be pushed, that like being told you're not doing that right, that like being pulled on the bullshit. You know, and anyone that I'm coaching the last 5, 6 years that's still with me, they like that. That's what they're into. They like being pushed. They like being told. They don't want me just to take the money. They want me to continue to push them on the goals. Um, and yeah, great mindsets. And then their friends are becoming better athletes, and it creates that sort of mindset everywhere.
When Eric was alluding today, you going through hell and stuff like that was Hell Week when you were there in 2021. You had a post on that where you said you learned your biggest lifelong learned lessons on that show. You seem to have been through a hell of a lot before that show. What was so different being on that you learned a lot? Was it how much you could push yourself? But because at the same time, you're already I think you got sub 9:30 in the Ironman by then anyway, so you've already know how to push yourself to the limits in terms of sport. What was different about doing Hell Week?
Um, I suppose Hell Week. I tell you what was different about Hell Week because the DSs, the
They're like
Rangers,
how
right?
you coach now.
Ah,
They're like how you coach now.
them Rangers, right, can see straight through you. Do you know when you have a weakness and you think no one knows about it? Well, them fuckers know about it, right? So this particular fellow, Ray Goggins, yeah, he kept pulling me, going, "You're fucking weak." He kept saying to me, and he was telling me, he said, "You've no fucking skills in this, you've no skills in that," and I was like, "This fucker knows. He can see through me, right?" And it was killing me at the time, and I was like, it really hit me hard when he was saying to me. But it was the best thing I needed to hear at the time. And when I left that show, I got fucked out, not left. Let's be honest. Let's be honest there. I fucking pulled out of the show. I couldn't go anymore. I was there for the seventh morning. So it's a week long. So I was there for them at 2 in the morning on the seventh day. Yeah. I'm trying to get a bit of credit. I was there for a week. I was there for 6 days and 2 hours. But
Sit
anyway,
to the seventh day.
yeah. But look, it was the best thing I needed to hear. And when I went home, I remember saying, you know what, he's right. Fucking face your weaknesses, write them down, get after them, and don't be afraid to fucking tackle them because that's where you get true strength. If you're weak, you'll continue to be weak all your life. If you don't fucking write them down and get after them and find out why you're weak at that, get uncomfortable, overcome it, and it builds up the armor. You know what I mean? I had a chink in my armor, and that's what it was. I wasn't getting after the weaknesses. So that was the chink in my arm, and that's what caught me out in the end. That's why I didn't finish the course. But it was great because I was learning. I failed, but I failed to learn. You know what I mean? Which is a great lesson.
I when he's saying that to you at the time, though, you're weak and stuff, is your first reaction, fuck you? I've been through so much, like, or is it like, no, he's telling me this for a reason. I need to go and figure this out. But at the same time, you probably had feck all sleep through 6, 7 days going through all this, and God knows all the stuff you've been through. Like, your head must be an absolute wreck. And then you've got someone there being like, you're weak. Like, I can't put myself in that situation of what you're going through, all the tiredness, all the rest, and then having that being hammered home at you.
No, do you know what? I was an open book going in there. I wanted to learn, and that's why I went there. I went there for growth, and I said to myself, no matter what these lads say to me, I know these lads are 100%. These lads aren't going to be attacking me with bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know they want to get you up, but they're not going to lie to you. You know what I mean? So it's having the respect around these men because they're fucking unreal to be around. I've not met you. I've never been around or in presence of anyone else better than them Rangers. They're unreal, and to have that privilege to be accepted onto that course was an absolute privilege and something I'll never forget, and I'm very grateful for. So for me, like that much respect from him, that when Ray said that to me, I was like, he's fucking right. You're right, Ray. No, I didn't say that to him because he'd have told me to fuck off. I could definitely give him 10 press ups. You couldn't open your mouth, right? So you just inside, I'm like, he's fucking right because I knew he was right because I had got the weaknesses. So I knew he wasn't lying. Do you know what I mean? I knew what he was saying was right. So I knew he wasn't making it up, and I knew I had to suck her up, and I knew I respected this man that much. Yeah, you're fucking right, Ray. Yeah, you're fucking right. I know you hurt me here, but you know what? I need to hear it.
One of the things in the show as well, we talked to Small before we hit the record button, was I'd seen a clip of you were talking to a psychiatrist there, and she was saying that you lack confidence. And when I was watching this morning doing my research this episode of the podcast, I was like, wait, no, this can't be. Like, I literally paused it halfway through and I was like looking through the different things you've done up until then. Like you've done talks with like Google, and you're in schools and all the rest, and like, so you've done a lot of public speaking and stuff. And I'm assuming that's before you were on the show. Maybe I'm wrong, correct me on that. But I'm like, how do you not have it? And then you were like, yeah, no, you're right. And she went on to say how like the other people that were going through Hell Week were happy that you were with them. And even from that clip, you could tell like you helped motivate and push people through, just like you did with the 8 athletes getting sub 3 hour. Like, how do you, like, were you trying to not fake it till you make it with confidence? Were you trying to just push that out there, and then you had some things to internalize afterwards? Or what's going on there?
Yeah, so look, I used to do a race. So I had this conversation with my counsellor. I used to do a race and I'd have confidence for one day and it'd be gone. And he said, "You're like a leaking bucket." It's down to what I was put through as a kid. And I just hadn't got that confidence. I was constantly nitpicked that. You know what I mean? Growing up. I'd do something good, I'd come home, you just fucking see chaos in the gaff. It was never good enough, do you know what I mean? So the confidence was gone. And then when I was a kid, I was over playing with Scotland. I had a YTS scholarship signed off and all. And then when all that happened with my mother and father, that was taken away from me. That killed me. So my confidence went from that day on. I was like a dead soul going around with nothing in me. My head was down. The confidence was gone. I was most confident person I ever meet when I was over in Scotland when I made as a YTS. For me, that was me professional footballer, which was my love for all my life. And once that was taken from me, the confidence went. And I was gone for like, I don't know, I was 15 at that time, 16, 30, probably 16, 17 years. I was like that. Where the head was down and I was unconfident. So when I done the sport, everyone was thinking, "Oh, you must be fucking proud of yourself." I wasn't, you know. Not that I wasn't. I didn't know how to be. I didn't know how to be proud of myself. I didn't know how to be confident. So that's why I ended up going back to the council and I said, "Look, I need help here because that's not right." You know what I mean? I should be proud of myself. I should be confident. I should be going around head up, saying to myself, "Well done." But I wasn't, and I was looking for more, and I was just punishing myself more and more and more. But as I got to counselling and then I started talking about the issues I had and the emotions I was feeling, little by little I started to get more love in my heart because I had a stone heart. I wouldn't be very emotional. I wouldn't cry much. Found it hard to love people. You know, really did find it hard, especially adults in particular. Like, found it very hard to love people and accept love. So I needed to sort of get the growth around that and restructure the whole mindset and the whole emotional side of me, which I've done. I love these days. I like being loved. you know, but look at
I heard you love this podcast as well, Ger.
you about it. That's why I'm on it. But it's not a nice thing when you're in that. But look, you have to identify. For me, look, it's just about identifying where your weaknesses are, and this is why Hellweek was so important to me, because I identified all my weaknesses, and off the back of that show, I worked on everything. Everything is the best of my ability. I'm not perfect. I'm still not perfect, and nor do I want it, to be honest with you. I'm from Coolock, and I'm not perfect up there, so I want to bed in with all the rest of us. So it's just trying to, I suppose, it's trying to identify weaknesses and trying to fix them so you don't hurt others. Because I've hurt a lot of people in my life, and when you come out the other side, it's very hard for them people to see you've changed. Do you know what I mean? Because you've hurt them so much, and that can be the sad thing about it. When you do overcome all this and you come out the other side, and you know you've changed inside, and the people you've hurt most and loved most don't believe in you anymore. And that can be very difficult, very, very difficult. That's probably the biggest obstacle of them all, and the hardest thing I've ever done, because the last thing you want to do is hurt people that's close to you, But they're the people you will hurt because they are closest to you, if that makes sense. We always hurt the people close to us. So that's a sad thing about. Although I'm in a good place, and although I know I've changed internally, to not be able to enjoy that with the people that I love most is very disheartening. You know what I mean?
It is.
But look at
it is like especially because in the end, you when you're doing all this transition, and I won't speak, but you're kind of hoping that this finish line or that finish line or the next goalpost or the next corner I turn, maybe I'll get back to that bit of approval or that little bit of connection that I had with them in the past. And time is a healer as well. But I suppose the important thing for you is that you're healing yourself, and you can't please everyone, and that's the hardest part.
That is the hardest part, because the finish lines and all are great, but that's not what's important in life. Family is the important thing, family and loving the right people and enjoying life with people. I used to think it was all that, and as I said, it was fake for me, because all the external people, I was looking for all this external love and all this, oh, well done. But as I got to work, I realised that I don't really give a fuck about that, to be honest with you. That's no disrespect. You know what I mean? I'm happy for people to be supporting me when I do racing. I'm not saying that, but that's not what's important, if you get me. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? If I didn't go to another race, I wouldn't care. I'll always train, because that's my medicine. The events doesn't really bother me, but I go to the events. So the finish line is not my pinnacle. Me winning would be to have the people I love around me. You know what I mean? And to enjoy life with them, if that makes sense. Because that's where life is for me.
And do you see yourself transition with your kids, getting them into the sport now when they're old enough, or what way do you see you continuing that and being able to take that medicine and keep the ones you love around you? Would you get more satisfaction watching them develop in the sport with you now?
Oh yeah, look, all my kids are sporty. Like, my kids aren't allowed to leave a sport unless they have another one set up, and they do it for a month. And allowed to leave,
Love
right?
it.
Because you can't keep kids somewhere they don't want to be. You know what I mean? You can't. Like, my daughter was swimming for Aer Lingus, very competitive swimmer, Haley, really good, 110 off 100 meters, right? Faster than me all day long. Like, 110 off 100 meters. I don't know if you know that
That's
talk,
quick.
but that's fucking quick.
That is quick.
Yeah, I only swim to one side, right? So I swim out to me right, 2 strokes out. I raced her one day up in the pool, and she was on my left. And I looked up, and she was gone. I thought, I thought, I thought I was going to smoke her, so I'm out to the right. And next one, I look up, she's gone. Unreal, like, but great, you know what I mean? Because this is what I'm talking about, setting your own environment. If you set that environment, automatically you inspire your kids. So yeah, look, I'll always have my kids involved in sport because I do believe it's a great support network. It's a great tool to have. You know, just for day to day stuff, you have just sometimes yourself. If you're having an emotion or a bad day, go out and do a bit of sport. I believe when you do a bit of sport, you come back and you feel better. You know.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I suppose what a lot of people find is that lethargic feeling, I don't want it. You know, everyone get into that feeling and just putting on the shoes and getting out the door can lead to, so like we talked about, habit building and just showing up even to the gym for 10 minutes. Like getting into that habit of just putting on the shoes and showing up, building that consistency. And you always, even if it's only 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then it'll always lead to an hour. And then before you know it, you have a few hours under your belt and you're going home happy as Larry. But it is, I find in my life, it's something I can't live without. I can get lazy at times, or I can let myself come off a training cycle or whatever it is. But after a certain amount of weeks, I get the itch to be like, you need to get back training again. I can tell my mood, everything is so different when I'm training.
Yeah, I don't know how that feels because I never take time off training. But come here and I tell you
Okay.
this, you can fill the mind. Because I remember a few times I was getting up at 4 in the morning and I'd be lying in the bed going, I am fucking bollocks. And I'd say to myself, right, look at just do one lap of so I'd go Port Malahide, up to Malahide Road, up to the Westwood, down Fairview, down all the way down the Westwood, the Clontarf coast, right? And back into Baldoyle, right? But say just do one lap and then you go back to bed. So you fill the mind. Know quite well. That's not gonna fucking happen, right? But you can fill the mind. And as you said then, once you get out then you warm up, you get that little bit of a buzz, you might see a bit of sunshine. Automatically then you're into 2 hours, 3 hours, you know what I mean? So I used to do that all the time, play games with my own mind. Knowing I was playing games with my own mind, but still filling my mind. Imagine that. Sick one.
That's some Inception type
Anyone,
shit there. That's a few
That's
little medals,
weird,
that
isn't it?
one.
anyone who's
Isn't that
listening
weird?
thinks that's a little. Everyone listening thinks that's a lap at the park. You basically described the Dublin bus route there for fuck's sake.
Yeah, yeah. You end up doing 150 or something.
But for the normal persons that get 4 o'clock training, it's a similar thing to like if you wake up during the night and you can get up very easy to go get a drink of water if you're parched and then go back to bed, like, and you're like, oh, I'm actually up, I'm grand. But then the alarm clock goes off to get up, you're like, oh, there's no way I can get out of this bed. It was like, no, you're parched at 3 o'clock in the morning, less sleepy, you still got up and go. They're just going that one step further.
Yeah. But look,
Like,
it's
come here.
all a test, boys. It's all a test. Even getting up out of bed is a test. So I believe just do one test at a time. Like, don't even think about the gym. Just get yourself up. Once you're up, then start thinking about what am I doing next. You know what I mean? Because what happens is people think of the session, and then that gets them. They're like, oh, fuck that session. I can't do that session. Just get up out of bed. Get your shit together. Don't even think about the session. Then when you're dressed, then, right, what's the session? Because when you're in bed and you have a 90-minute run to do, right, and you're lying there going, 90-minute run, oh, fuck that. Yeah.
Sunday morning, every one of them.
Yeah, break it down, but you know, if you're faced with that tiredness or you're in bed and you're fucked, break it down to something smaller. Say, fill your mind and go, you know what? I'll just do 10 minutes, I'll just do 20 minutes. And then once you get out, you'll be grand.
That is a good one. We're going to use that one now. Just pass each test. I'm going to use that myself because I'm a nightmare for getting out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But look, I know the finish line isn't for you, but what are your goals as an athlete in the next year or two?
Well, I'm doing I just signed up for 50K in the morning in Dundee. I only signed up
You got the
yesterday.
ticket.
We got it.
Yeah, I got jealous. Now, there's a couple of lads in the club doing it. And I don't know what, this year I just want to do something that fears me, you know what I mean? Now I have got something else booked, but I haven't even told anyone about it yet.
Go on, you can tell us. Sure, we only have 2,500 listeners.
You won't tell anyone, will you?
No, no,
No,
no, no,
no.
no. It'll be online in a week or two, a couple of weeks anyway. But go ahead. What else know about it?
So I'm doing the 50 in the morning, and then I signed up for that backyard ultra.
Oof.
Which one?
Yeah.
Which one?
Last man standing.
No, in Tipperary or in Dublin?
Yeah, in Offaly, is that Tipperary?
Oh, down Tipperary. Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, because I want to test myself. I love that test, right? Here's where I am with that, yeah?
Yeah.
You see, after, I don't know how many hours going to be there. I'm not even going to, I don't know. I'm going
Be
to be
there
there
for
for
the
as long.
first hour, pass the first test. See, I'm learning.
No, I'm
You've got
thinking,
24 tests in you. You've got 24 tests in you at least.
I'm thinking at least a day, like, yeah. But, like, do you know what the test there is? Can you get up out of that chair for that fucking whistle, right?
Mhm.
Are you a weasel? It's on you. It's on your mindset. It's nothing to do with anyone else. It's an individual fucking decision. Can I get back in that start line? I fucking love that shit, man.
That's right up your alley. I did it last
Yeah.
year in May in Dublin, and
Did you?
I'm signed up again this year. And it is one of those where you don't die in the seat, you die in the lap. And my legs, I got to lap
Is it?
15,
Yeah.
and I felt great. And came back in. I was like, I'm good. 2 minutes I was with him. I got up and went, oh, I'm not good. And the first
Yeah.
20 minutes is all uphill. They actually anyone listen, they changed the route to go the opposite way this year. But I
Downhill.
got oh no, it's still a loop going up and down in Dublin, but it's you go clockwise instead of anti-clockwise. For some reason they changed route last year. It was my first time doing it. But it's just 20 minutes and trying to slog up, and that the time wasn't like there. Like I got back in an hour 15 later, legs are shot. He came walking up after me. He's like, yeah, go up, show you what happens. Like, they don't work anymore. And I swear to God, like I couldn't even lift my leg to go like the little half a I'd say 6 inches of a little thing in the walk-in shower. I could not get my foot over. I had to grab it with two hands, get my feet over. The legs just completely seized on me. But
Yeah.
you're gonna do great that down in Tipperary, the
Yeah.
elevation. You're gonna absolutely love it. That's up your alley. I'm hoping you're saying that scared you a bit, not the 50K, because I'm down there myself in the morning. But don't clap me across the head too hard. You lap me because it's 14 laps now, and I'm aiming for like 4:45, 4:50, and I'm happy. And I know your time's gonna be a lot quicker than that.
We are, yeah, look at the 50K doesn't. It's a piece. I'm not disrespecting 50K or anyone that's doing it, but no, that doesn't get me at all.
Yeah,
That's a handy one.
you've
You
got
know.
sub 3 hours. It's like
Ah,
you're into a mental battle now with the backyard ultra, because that only
yeah,
lasts as long as that second last person last Richard. Like that,
yeah,
I'm excited. I might even pop down to that after Quest. Jeez, I'm after saying the podcast. I must now just to see you for a lap or two on that one, because that's going to
yeah.
be interesting.
Have you
That
got a
gets me
crew?
now. That gets me.
Have you got a crew to go with you, Ger?
Do you know what? I'm thinking of bringing no crew. I'm thinking of actually putting it on me. That's where I'm at with it. I'm thinking, fuck everyone. Bring your own fucking food and get your own fucking ass up and do the fucking lap. This is where my head's at the minute. You know,
Yeah.
I want to test myself. I'll do my own nutrition. And I don't mean this bad way, but
I
fuck
wish I
everyone
was
else.
there. I'd be hiding your Haribo and everything every lap.
Yeah, I'm eating avocados.
He didn't want the crew, did he not? Fuck him.
Just don't eat the busy cola bottles.
You're
No,
gonna
but listen,
absolutely love that.
in hindsight, that's what I'd love to do, but like that probably wouldn't work. You know what I mean? I probably would need one or two people there just to give me a little bit of feel and a bit of motivation towards the end. And you know what? No, the main thing would be just to wake me up, because I can sleep anywhere. So I'm thinking if I come back and I have 10 minutes, I'll get the nap in, but I don't want to oversleep. So if I have someone there give me a slap, get up, that's all I would need someone for, really.
Yeah,
Just
because
to make sure I'm up.
set
It's easy
having an
falling
alarm
asleep.
clock setting an alarm clock every hour and stuff, and you have a guy banging pots and stuff. But I mean, you could easily go into deep sleep for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden that's your race over, or like you get up and you get your
100%.
number going through the start, and that's what happened to the World Championship. Someone got 70 odd
Yeah,
hours, and he started one lap, and he must have changed his clothes. They've got to bring his number or his tag or something with him, and they're like, "That's the
yeah,
rules. You're
yeah,
done. You're out." And on 3 4 minutes sleep every hour. you're not going to be thinking as straight. And like what helped me get through was like I messed up my nutrition completely. Like I spent the end of 2 straight hours like waiting for a queue for the jacks to get in. And Eric's like, right, you're not doing this right. You're having too much of the electrolytes. We need to pull back. We get water. We need to get this in, that in. And then 2, 3 hours later, I felt, okay, I'm actually good to get going again. I got another 4 or 5 hours only because someone else was there to think straight for me instead of me thinking how long to get here, how long to get here, and keep yourself up and going.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you'll make mistakes as it goes on, you know what I mean? Now, the good thing about me is I've been in the endurance world for a good 6 years now. I'll have all my stuff prepped before I go down. I have a good understanding on how nutrition works and how many calories I'll need going through the whole thing.
Yep.
So I'm okay with that. And the rest, I'll just bring the balls. All I need is the balls. But no, it's definitely a test, and it's definitely because it's like Hell Week. Hell Week is a test. You have 3 different tests every day that you put on, right? So it's all a challenge. So you don't know what you're going to get. So you're just dragged out of this fucking truck, Ballyclaverton or wherever, and you just put in front of this challenge, and you just have to do it, and you split second. I love that. So this is similar to that, you know what I mean? It's every hour. I know what I'm doing, but I have to turn up on the hour. And when do you fail? You know, who are you? That's the questions that are going to come in, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the fuck up, you weasel.
I'm gonna get you to send that to me in a voice note, and I'm gonna set that as my alarm now for the next year.
I'll have to get a few bob every time you play him.
I'm gonna get Base to Race to either come on this podcast or give me €1 million. That's gonna be the one that's fun. But it is exciting to see what you're gonna do. It's like impossible is nothing when it comes to you, Ger, to be honest. It's absolutely amazing. We've thoroughly enjoyed your story. Is so captivating. I could have sat. I actually forgot to ask questions at some point, so I was just captivated by the story. We are rooting for you. We think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. We can't see. Now, I promise the 2,500 people won't tell anyone that you're going down to do the.
Say nothing. Say nothing.
We won't tell your family. But it's been absolutely great to have you on. We hope to have you on again, maybe after the event. See how you get on. See if you're a weasel or not. And but it's what you're doing is absolutely amazing for people. I know you're not used to taking the credit for what it's doing, but being that beacon is so important. For what you do for people, you should be commended. You should be proud of what you've done and what you've achieved for so many people. And you've given people an option and a choice and someone to look up to. And we are so grateful to have had you on the podcast and the opportunity to talk to you and talk about your story and hopefully one day Seán might be able to run quick enough to stick with you.
It's not going to be in the morning though.
Thanks so much for your time, and we won't take up more of it because we know you've so much to do and to train for. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this week's episode, and we hope to have you on again soon.
Yes, boys, thanks very much. And keep the good work, because at the end of the day, you are providing the platform for these stories to go out and help others as well. So you are a cog in that operation, you know. So thanks for having me, and best luck and all the. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll give you a slap in the arse every time I go around you.
Oh, that's going to be 14 red arses on my head every lap. On that note, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the Runday podcast. That's it from myself, Ger, and Eric. Take care.